What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast, guys, with Rob and Nando. We are here for the emergency Valentine's Day episode. So before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with whoever you may think you need to have watch this episode, because this episode is very important. So let's get into today's episode, the emergency Valentine's Day episode. First off, what is Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day, at least in the U.S., is no different than most American holidays. It's primarily all about spending. I mean, think about any holiday: Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day. The moment that holiday nears, all the stores market all their stuff. Valentine's Day, you have everything is red, teddy bears, roses, all the chocolates are heart shaped. So it's why is that the case? Because it's all about spending. So that's really one of the reasons we're actually going to talk about this today.
Yeah, and a little bit of history on Valentine's Day. It originated at the end of the 5th century. It was supposed to be more of a religious thing. Now it's a love and romance type of thing. Americans probably began exchanging heart-made Valentine's in the early 1700s. In the 1840s, someone by the name of Esther A. Howland began selling the first mass-produced Valentines in America. So that's some history behind it. What are some countries aside from America that are involved in Valentine's Day?
Yes, I originally thought that this was primarily like an American thing, but U.S., Britain, Australia, France, Mexico, South Korea, Argentina. So it's kind of a global thing. Like I think at this point it's kind of globalized, and there's so much money in it, just like any other holiday, that other countries are doing it as well.
Pretty surprising that it's not just an American holiday. It's spread out through other countries as well.
Yeah.
So now that we've gotten through most of the logistics here, why did we decide to make an emergency episode of Valentine's Day?
Yeah, the reason we're going to talk about Valentine's Day today is because, which we're gonna get more into detail on this. What's gonna happen on Valentine's Day every single year, right? We know that couples, they're gonna buy each other flowers, chocolates, perfumes, whatnot. Same thing goes for people that are engaged, married, which is fine. You should do that. The reason we're making an episode on Valentine's Day is because there's gonna be thousands of guys that are gonna go on a 1-800-Flowers, order overpriced roses for $80, pay $25 for shipping. They're gonna spend, $100, $200 for a girl that doesn't care about them. And that same girl is going to receive 5 or 6 of those same exact flowers and chocolates from some other guy.
How dare you?
That she doesn't care about. And, we always talk about simping and how girls take advantage. Women these days get so much free attention and validation. They don't need your chocolates or roses. So we're not really so much here to talk about people that are in relationships. We're here to talk about single guys just wasting their money.
Well, there's some problems that you mentioned there already. What are some more problems that are involved with Valentine's Day?
Yeah, so I actually pulled up some pretty interesting stats about this holiday. So where should we start? Should we start with the spending?
Definitely. The spending. How much is spent on Valentine's Day?
Okay. So according to the National Retail Federation, they estimate that Americans spend roughly $25.8 billion on Valentine's Day.
Game over.
On average, that comes out to about $185 per person. That's the average amount that somebody spends on Valentine's Day, right? Now, another interesting thing. It turns out that 1 out of 3 Americans actually cheats on Valentine's Day. Okay, so just think about that for a second. This is supposed to be like a holiday for couples. You get together, go for dinner, what have you. 1 in 3 couples cheats on Valentine's Day. And on top of that, another interesting thing about that is that it turns out that they estimate that when somebody cheats, they buy gifts for both their partner and the person they're cheating with. So it's an interesting. This whole day is just like the only people that really benefit from it, in my opinion, are the companies that are selling you these things.
That's insane. So you have people that are in a relationship, are a couple with someone else, and they're off cheating with a quote unquote side piece.
Yeah. And they're spending money on both the original, their boyfriend and girlfriend, because obviously both men and women cheat. This isn't really like a gender specific stat, but but they're buying gifts for the person that they're so thoughtful that they're buying gifts for the person they're dating and the person they're cheating on. So
seems like being single is more beneficial than the person that's being cheated on that's in that relationship. And it seems like it's happening to quite a heck amount of people there.
yeah, obviously, Valentine's Day is one of those holidays where women are definitely going to benefit. They're going to have a whole room full of teddy bears, roses, chocolates, and who knows what else. Probably at this point, I mean, people simp so hard now that guys go to the extent of cash apping and Venmoing women money for what reason I don't know. But
well, we're going to talk about singles, but we also have to incorporate the couples. What are some benefits for singles versus couples?
benefits as far as Valentine's Day?
Yeah, just the day itself.
I'm not gonna lie. I think when you're in a relationship, or if you're engaged, married, I think Valentine's Day is okay because it's one of those holidays where you can't really miss. I mean, if you're in a relationship, go ahead, buy the roses, chocolates. I think it's like an easy way to kind of like spice things up for a single day, and I guess in that sense it's okay. But I think it's crazy when guys go out of their way to spend money and some guys may spend money on not just one girl. They might get flowers, chocolates, gifts for multiple girls that just don't care about them. If you're not actively dating or at least seeing that, if you don't have any romantic relationship with a woman, don't waste money on Valentine's Day. If you absolutely have to buy a gift, sure, go to Dollar General, buy her a card for $1. Get her some chocolates for $3, $4, $5. Set a budget of $10. Go ahead. We're not. The idea here isn't to be a cheap person. We're just telling you don't go out of your way to waste your money, because all these holidays, these are just consumer holidays. They're just marketed to you to spend money.
There seems to be a misconception that being single sucks on Valentine's Day, which is not really the case. And the reason for it is because you can focus on yourself. You can do more quote-unquote self-care activities. There's no expectations of you that you don't have to spend on anybody. You can spend the day how you want. Valentine's Day is just like any day, like any of the other 364 days in the year. It's just one of the 365 that you can just say, hey, I'm single. Great. I can do whatever I want. I can spend it with my family. I can spend it with my friends. I could spend it alone doing my own activities. I could go to the gym. I can go about it as if it is a normal day, which it is.
I know some people get like depressed because they see like all these like pictures and posts on Instagram. Trust me when I tell you, a lot of these couples that are posting these little cute little pictures, or like, Christmas, they'll do their little pajama photo shoot. Most of these couples are arguing with each other, cheating anyway. So don't worry about it.
Well, the thing is that, yes, it can create, which I don't believe in again, but it can create some anxiety. And what I don't believe in is the depression part of it. I think it's more or less frustration of being single, of that situation that you may have as a single person, but you shouldn't let it get to you, because think about it. How much money do people spend on Valentine's Day? It's quite a lot. Talk about billions.
The average amount is $185 per person. So it's not a, small amount of money.
Still a lot.
Yeah.
That's the chunk of change right there. The other thing is the pressure of trying to satisfy the other person. Are they going to be happy with what you do for them? Which is not always the case. I don't always see people go out of their way for Valentine's Day and then the other person is so ecstatic about, how they did that, what they did for them, especially what men do for women, because that's mostly the case. Men are going to buy flowers for women, chocolates for women. They're going to take them out to a fancy restaurant, have a fancy dinner with them, and all these things. And maybe they might not even feeling it. Maybe they may be one of the 33% thinking about their side pieces, waiting for them to give them something.
It's funny because it's not even Valentine's Day yet, and I already saw a few stories on my Instagram of like women posting like stuff arriving at their house because I guess they get it mailed. And Valentine's Day, like I'm sure these companies, like if you order from 1-800-Flowers, they probably get booked up so quick that you probably have to like have it shipped the day before or after or whatever. And now what a lot of these companies are doing is it's no longer like the old school days where you just would show up with like a bouquet of roses in like a plastic wrap. Like now these companies are getting really fancy. They have a fancy box and the roses are cut so it's the stems are out and they're some kind of special edition roses. These things cost like $300, $400, $500 for a box, and depending how many dozen you buy, it could get to $1,000. So I don't know. I think it's crazy to spend that money unless, like I said, if it's somebody you're dating, sure, that's your fiance, wife, sure, but don't do crazy stuff like that to try to impress a girl.
The thing is, at the end of the day, it's so commercialized now.
Yep.
It's a business just like any other holiday that you can make a business out of. 4th of July, we're talking about people going out buying burgers, hot dogs, beer. You're talking about Halloween, people going out and spending tons and tons of money on candy and costumes and things like that. Valentine's Day is, as I mentioned before, chocolate, flowers, all these expensive gifts. We're not even talking about the expensive gifts, the jewelry that people get just because it's Valentine's Day.
I think most people haven't even recovered from Christmas. I actually read, since we were looking into this holiday, I looked into it, and on average, Americans spend $1,000. Each person spends $1,000 on Christmas, which was 2 months ago. So most people probably haven't even recovered or paid off their credit cards from that holiday. And Christmas is different, of course, because you're buying gifts for everybody, family, friends, maybe coworkers, what have you. So
it doesn't seem to make sense that this one day is over all the other days in the year. What makes Valentine's Day, February 14th, today, so special versus the other 364 days in the year? What's so special about it?
Exactly.
You have to show your love on Valentine's Day. Why not show your love on all the other days? What makes that one day so special?
And let's be real. I hate to even have to put it this way, but women are going to get that money out of you throughout the whole year anyway. So don't be overly focused on that one day. There's going to be plenty of opportunities the rest of the year to get, pay for a trip, pay for this restaurant. So her birthday, or if you're dating, an anniversary. So, and I really believe that, like Valentine's Day, like let's say you are in a relationship or you're married, I don't believe that this is one of those holidays where how much you spend is really that important. You know what I mean? I mean, is there really a huge difference between you buying like Walmart roses or like some special edition online $1,000 roses? No, there isn't.
I know we're coming down pretty hard on Valentine's Day. Now, do we see any benefits for Valentine's Day? Is there even one positive Valentine's Day has?
I mean, the only positive I could think of is if you're in a relationship, maybe you have a wild night that night if you play your cards right. But
yeah. Gotcha, bitch.
But even in that case, if I spent $500 that day, I would still be kind of like, damn, like
that hurts. That's gonna hurt big time. And there's people that spend thousands. Forget about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could see it being as a positive. I could see where you can express more of your love to someone, if that's the case. But this conversation, this part leading to another, and the question is, does it make sense to go through it all day, preparing, even before, the days before, maybe even weeks before, preparing, doing all these special things to make that quote unquote love happen?
The overall message of this episode is just, especially to the people that are single, don't simp, don't feel pressure to spend money, don't go out of your way to be so nice that you just buy everyone gifts and try to be the hero of the day. It's not worth it. There's plenty of guys that are going to do that already. It's not going to attract her or win her over in any way. It's just, I feel like Valentine's Day is one of those days that it's just like, it's so over marketed and commercialized in that way where you almost feel pressured to buy this stuff.
Big time.
Big time. This isn't Christmas. Christmas is different, right? You buy gifts. That's what Christmas is all about. Valentine's Day, like I said, if you absolutely have to buy something, set a budget of like $10, $20 tops. Done.
When I think of Valentine's Day, I think of lust versus love. So lust is more sexual attraction, sexual intimacy with the other person. You don't really care about anything else with them. And love is dedication, affection for them, concern for their values, and pretty much really being into each other fully into each other. So do people really show love for each other, or do people lust for one another?
And that's exactly the point, is that I think, especially in the U.S., I can't really speak on behalf of other countries, but in the U.S., it tends to go that way. What have we spoken about before on this podcast? Now, even with weddings, like it's the pressure to spend more and more increases. Like every 5-10 years, there's like this new standard of like, first it was 50K, and now people are having like 100K, 100,000K weddings, and it goes up from there. Let's get a DJ and a videographer and a circus act, and let's bring camels out, and like people just overspend on this stuff. And to your point, like, is that really what it's all about? How much you can spend? No, I don't think so.
I think spending all that money is just silly. I think it's just
Spending time, sure. Buying little gifts here and there, yeah, sure. But just I think in the U.S. especially, things are so commercialized. Everything's so marketed that it's like, and on top of that, let's be real, people are in like competition. Everyone wants to kind of like outdo each other. So that's how the spending could get out of hand. And not to mention, this is the worst time ever because of inflation. Everyone's on a budget. Companies are doing mass layoffs. Who the hell knows what's going to happen in this upcoming year with the election coming up? You got to be careful with your money. Spend your money smart.
People are struggling, and that's the thing, to go all out on a holiday like Valentine's Day for no reason, with spending money, putting time, energy, effort into going all out for your partner who may not even care about it that much. So you're wondering if you're doing the right thing by going all out on Valentine's Day, because they're going to wonder, well, why doesn't he do this type of thing on the other days as well?
Right. Yeah, I guess if you're in a relationship, by all means, like, I guess that's the thing. When you're in a relationship, you kind of have no choice but to like buy at least flowers. Otherwise, that could cause an argument. But if you're single, and what I forgot to mention earlier is like we talked about gifts, but then you get the restaurant part of it. And I actually read interesting stats about this, that the trend now is people are going out to eat less, but they're going out to more expensive restaurants. Meaning now Americans are like less into just like kind of like going out to eat at like regular, the Applebee's and all those days are done. Now people eat out less, but they tend to go out to more. The trend is people want to go to more expensive restaurants. So that's another one, If it's your girl, sure, take her out to eat. It's Valentine's Day, but don't take some random girl out and spend $300 on dinner for Valentine's Day. It's stupid.
Or even any day. Because you won't get that back if she's not really into you. So
yeah, it's like the whole idea of what we're trying to say is just like, don't lead with money and gifts and like trying to impress her and win her over. That's what we're trying to say.
Single people shouldn't feel bad because there's about 61% single people on Valentine's Day. This is numbers from 2023.
What was it? 61%?
61%. Imagine how much more there are, because this was 2023. Now we're 2024. Imagine how much there are now. So don't feel bad that you're single on Valentine's Day. Take advantage. Use it for yourself. Use it for what you want to do. Don't make a big deal about it, because it seems like some of these holidays, especially Valentine's Day, is pretty overhyped. With what I'm going to say next as well. Valentine's Day is the one day of the year, the most popular day of the year for proposals.
Oh, that's so corny.
Yeah, proposals. What do we say here on the podcast, guys? Don't get married. Don't get married.
It's good you brought that up, because we talk about that topic all the time. And we were just talking about like the pressure of like Valentine's Day. It's like it's marketed to be this like romantic, day where it's all about the woman. Proposing, of all things, don't feel pressure to do that. I hope people have the common sense to do that. Well, it's such a corny day to do it too.
There's one thing, of course, there are people that are getting married. There are people that are going to want to get married. Again, we don't believe in it. And we don't recommend, guys, as we've mentioned before, to go forward with it, because there is no benefit for men whatsoever. None. You're better off in a relationship. There's more of a natural connection that way, instead of putting your pen on the dotted line and signing off officially with a marriage certificate. It doesn't make sense.
Unless you're 100% content with the fact that you are going to get screwed at some time statistically, then go ahead and do it. Then be my guest. I have nothing to say, but
and imagine men proposing on Valentine's Day. How many of them are pressured to say yes?
Yeah,
that's another thing.
Yeah,
if your significant other is pressured to say yes, and it's not a natural proposal, it's just kind of corny. It's on Valentine's Day. It's in front of a lot of people and all that stuff. is she going to regret it later
I,
on?
I always found it super cringe when people propose at any type of like holiday. I don't know why. I mean it's a bad idea to begin with, but like to do it on like anything, New Year's, Christmas. I think it's corny. Like, just I think it's one of those things where if you do it, like just do it on a random day and like, I guess like surprise her or something.
That's the thing.
On a holiday, it's kind of corny.
If you end up doing that shit, because again, we've said it already a billion times. We just said it a couple times today. If you end up getting married, which you shouldn't, and proposing to get married, which you shouldn't, do it. Make it special. Make it on a random day. Make sure you're both ready for it, because you may be ready, but she might not be ready for it.
And when you give her the Valentine's Day card, just make sure there's also a prenup in there.
Prenups, they don't always hold up in court, but, make sure you protect yourself as much as you can. So, there are guys that watch our podcast that are married or are going to get married. At least protect yourself. If you're not going to listen to us about not getting married, at least protect yourself. And again, we're not here. We're not trying to be your boss. We're not, trying to tell you what you have to do, even though we're kind of telling you what you have to do to be successful in relationships. But at the end of the day, it's your decision. You just make the best decision possible. And, what we say, which really is a fact based on all the numbers and all the stats, avoiding marriage is the best thing you can do. And going about your life and relationships and dating a different way. I think that's the best bet. And singles shouldn't feel too bad, because 33% of couples will celebrate Valentine's Day with their partner. 31% won't celebrate. And 27% will either be with friends or alone. So, again, don't feel so bad if you're single. Don't be in depression mode. It's more sometimes frustrating when you feel that, okay, you're alone and you don't want to be alone. I get that. But don't let it get to that point, because, again, it's just another day. Make it special for what you want to do. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. That's the problem. People follow what other people are doing with you're going to see all the corny posts on social media. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, X, which was Twitter previously. And you know what? So be it. You should just let it go. Don't make a big deal about it. You can't control what others do. You can control yourself and what you do with Valentine's Day. And you can also control how you react to what you see on social media, because, of course, you're going to come across it. You're going to see it. And you can either be all upset about it that your best friend just got proposed to. If you're a lady out there, some ladies get jealous for that. Or if you're a guy and you just got into a new relationship, whatever the case is, don't feel so bad about it. Don't let it get to you, because it's silly. It's silly for that to happen.
Like we said before, the stat is a third of people cheat on Valentine's Day. Be happy you're not one of those guys.
Exactly. Just like we said before, you're better off being single than being cheated on. You don't want to be the guy that's being cheated on. That sucks.
Social media, always remember, people only post their best moments. They only post what they want you to see. They're not posting the cheating, the arguments, all hell that's breaking loose in the house, finding out that their significant other was sleeping with their boss or, coworker or something like that. So just keep that in mind.
Surprisingly, only 7% of breakups happen on Valentine's Day. I thought there would be more.
That's an interesting one too. Yeah, I expected it to be higher, but I guess they wait until probably like the week or two afterwards.
Now, would you consider Valentine's Day a wake-up call for some relationships, some people that are partners and in crime? As I think
it's just important for people to realize at the end of the day, it's just another bullshit holiday marketed to increase and boost sales all across the board. At the end of the day, the only people truly benefiting from these type of holidays are the companies selling you the products.
What's funny
They're cashing in.
What's funny is that we got into the new year and we already saw Valentine's Day, stores advertising Valentine's Day, the chocolates, the flowers.
I think right after Christmas, if I'm not mistaken, like a week or two later, I went to like Walgreens and this stuff was already out. I was like, damn, already? Like,
And I've seen it lately. I actually saw it a couple of days ago. It seems like not so many people are purchasing, but based on the numbers, there's billions.
You know when's the best time to buy that stuff? This is what I always do. Once the holiday ends, you show up at that store and you buy it. For example, Valentine's Day, show up the day or two after Valentine's Day. All that stuff is like 80% off. Christmas, I did the same thing. I walked into CVS. All the stuff was on clearance because everything is super marked up. Like even like everybody buys flowers on Valentine's Day. All that stuff's marked up for the holiday.
Well, if people want to make a big deal about Valentine's Day, make it on another day. Make it a couple of days later and then do it.
Buy everything 75% off the next day.
And that'll be cheaper, and then you'll make possibly, if your significant other likes it, you'll make, that person happy. So
do the 2-for-1.
Yeah, 2 for 1, maybe 5 for 1 at that point. Yeah. Who knows? Now, to start wrapping this up, we talked about lust, we talked about love, we talked about Valentine's Day, all the stats behind it. Would you say that true love exists or no?
I don't think so. I think that's an emotion. Emotions are temporary. Like we went over countless times. Everybody thinks they're in love until the divorce happens or the breakup happens or the cheating happens. I think it's an emotion.
Yeah, I think it eventually has an expiration date. There's always an end to that, to anything, and love is one of them.
In a relationship context, we're of course not talking about family, things like that. In a relationship context, I think it's just an emotion. Emotions wear off.
I'm glad you cleared that up. Yeah. Not with family, of course, your parents, siblings, grandparents, close family, things like that. Family in general. Maybe a really best friend, good, again, partner in crime that's not really a romance relationship type of thing. Absolutely. But with relationships, it eventually expires. With all the divorces, more than half of the divorces, going on, 50% of divorces in this country or more, and 80% of them initiated by women. Seems like women forget what their partners do for Valentine's Day with all the divorces and breakups.
Counseling, from what I understand, is at an all-time high too. And couples, husbands, wives, they go into these places looking for help because that's just what happens. The feelings, so voila, 10 years later, everything is kind of wore off. Everything's boring. Honeymoon phase is over. That's it.
So, any last statement about this emergency Valentine's Day podcast?
Don't make this holiday a big deal. It's just for consumerism. It's overly commercialized. Don't spend a lot of money, and especially don't spend a lot of money on a woman that you're not dating.
Yeah, my last statement is, the reason why we did this emergency podcast, this emergency episode for Valentine's Day, and posting it early this afternoon, is to give you a wake-up call. Single people, it's not a big deal if you're single on Valentine's Day. People in relationships, just watch what you do. Don't do something silly. And make sure that you make the other 364 days in the year count, because it's not just about the one day, Valentine's Day. Because that day that seems so special, today, February 14th, it's really not that special.
Nope. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.
Follow us on Instagram. We are on TikTok, and we are on X. So support all our socials and make sure you subscribe to the channel and share the video.